All right, everybody, welcome back for another deep dive.
Yes, welcome back.
So today we're going to be talking about weight loss, but not the kind of stuff that you're used to hearing about.
Right.
You know, diets and workouts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We're going to be going a little bit deeper today, and thanks to all of you out there in listener land who sent in some really great resources about the psychology of weight loss.
Yes.
Really interesting stuff about, what it takes to not just lose the weight,
Right.
but to keep it off.
Mm-hmm.
So really appreciate those of you who sent those in.
Yeah, this is great stuff. I was so excited to see all this come in from the listeners.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's such an important topic that people don't talk about.
Right?
It's like we spend all this time, thinking about the food we eat and the exercise we do.
Yeah.
But if your mind isn't in the right place,
Right.
if you don't have the right mindset,
Yeah.
you're not going to be successful.
You're setting yourself up for failure.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's like, one of the sources I was reading talked about it like, it's like building a house on a shaky foundation.
Mm-hmm.
You can have the best blueprints in the world.
Yeah.
You can have the best materials. But if that foundation is not solid, it's all going to come crumbling down.
It's true.
And the same goes for weight loss.
Yeah.
You can have all the information about what to eat and how to work out.
Yeah.
But if you haven't done that inner work to figure out,
Right.
you know what your motivation is,
Yes.
what your goals are,
Your why.
your why, exactly,
Yeah.
you're not going to get very far.
Yeah. And so many people, I think, they start with these really vague resolutions like, oh, this is the year I'm going to lose weight. But they don't really dig deep and figure out, like,
Right.
why is that important to them?
Yeah.
What are the real benefits they're going to get from that?
Right. And this source had a really great point about, it's not enough to just say like, oh, I want to fit into these jeans that have been sitting in my closet for 5 years.
Yeah. Right.
It's got to be something deeper.
Deep. Yeah.
Like, what is it going to give you in your life?
Exactly.
Is it going to give you more energy to play with your kids?
Yep.
Is it going to make you feel more confident?
Yeah.
Is it going to, help you live longer so you can see your grandkids grow up or something like that?
Oh, about.
It's got to be something really powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the sources even suggested like writing this down.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, like not just your goals,
Yeah.
but the reasons why those goals matter.
Yes.
So it's almost like a personal mission statement
Mhm.
for your weight loss journey.
I love that.
What do you think about that?
I think that's brilliant because, there's something about writing things down
Yeah.
that makes them more real, more
Yeah.
tangible.
Yeah, you're sort of solidifying it in a way.
Exactly. And that kind of brings us to another point that it was in a lot of the sources that you sent, which is this idea of setting SMART goals.
Right.
Have you heard of that?
Oh, yeah, SMART goals.
Okay, so for our listeners who haven't heard of this, tell us about that a little bit.
Yeah, so this source explained it in a way that really clicked for me.
Okay.
It said, imagine you're planning a trip.
Okay.
If you just say, I want to go somewhere warm,
Mm-hmm.
you're probably not going to end up going anywhere.
Right.
But if you say, I want to go to Bali
Yes.
in June for a week,
Yeah.
then you can actually start making plans. You can book your flights. You can book your hotel.
Right. You have a plan.
You have a plan. Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it's the same thing with weight loss.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of just saying, I want to lose weight,
Yeah.
you need to be specific about how much weight you want to lose,
Okay.
by when and how you're going to do it.
Give me an example.
So like a SMART goal would be something like,
Okay.
I want to lose 10 pounds in the next 3 months
Okay.
by walking 30 minutes 3 times a week
Mm-hmm.
and swapping out sugary drinks for water,
Perfect.
right? So
Is this you've got the specific amount of weight, the time frame,
Yeah.
and the specific actions you're going to take.
exactly.
I love it.
So it's specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound.
And I think that's one of the things I love about this approach is that it sets you up for success because you're not trying to do everything at once.
Right.
You're breaking it down into smaller, more manageable steps.
Right.
Yeah.
And even if you don't hit that like overall goal of 10 pounds,
Yeah.
You're still getting those little wins along the way.
Right.
Like if you manage to walk 3 times a week for a whole week,
Yes.
that's a win.
That's a win.
And that's going to keep you motivated.
Absolutely. And the other thing the source emphasizes is that, you want those initial goals to be realistic.
Yes.
Don't try to, overhaul your entire life overnight.
Right.
Start small, start with something that, you can actually achieve and then build from there.
Right. It's about making those positive changes.
Yeah.
And speaking of positive, one of the sources talked about the importance of having a support system. And I know for me personally,
It's
like
huge.
having, a workout buddy or even just like an online community or something like that to share my progress with
Yeah.
makes a huge difference.
Huge.
Um, what about you? Have you found that to be true in your experience?
It's funny because like the research on this is so fascinating. They've actually done studies
Yeah.
that show that people who have a support system are more likely to be successful
Right.
with their weight loss goals.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it makes sense. If you think about it, if you're trying to do this all on your own
Yeah.
and you're feeling isolated
Right.
and, you have a bad day, it's really easy to just give up.
Right.
But if you have people who are cheering you on,
Yeah.
who are, holding you accountable, who are, celebrating your successes with you,
Right.
it makes a world of difference.
Yeah, it does. And I think that's a really good point. And before we move on to the next part of this journey, I wanted to mention something that I think might be helpful to our listeners
Okay.
as they're thinking about their weight loss goals.
Okay.
So imagine if you could target those stubborn areas
Oh.
right from the comfort of your own home.
Well, you can, and you can find out more by visiting https://re.l.weighloss or by clicking on the link in the description of this podcast.
Yeah, and we'll be back in a little bit to continue our deep dive into these weight loss resources.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Welcome back, everybody. We were just talking about the importance of having that support system.
Yeah, it's so important.
And, even with the best support in the world, you're still going to have those moments, those obstacles that pop up.
Yeah.
Where you're just like, I really want that extra slice of pizza, or, I don't really feel like going to the gym today.
Oh, totally.
It happens to all of us.
Yeah, and one of the sources had a really interesting take on this.
Oh, yeah. What was that?
They said that it's not about being perfect.
Mm-hmm.
It's about learning how to navigate those slip-ups.
Right. Because
That's
they're
why
going to happen.
They're not going to be perfect all the time.
Exactly.
So it's more about like how do you deal with it when you do, make a mistake or have a slip up.
Yeah. They use this analogy of like learning to ride a bike.
Yeah.
You're going to fall off a few times.
Yeah.
But you just got to dust yourself off and get back on.
Right. And not give up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's about building that resilience.
That resilience.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. And the other thing that this source talked about was the importance of self-compassion.
Yes.
Don't beat yourself up.
Yeah.
If you have a day where you don't eat perfectly or you skip your workout,
Yeah.
it's okay.
It happens.
Just acknowledge it,
Yeah.
figure out what triggered it,
Right.
and then, use that knowledge to move forward.
Yeah. It's like turning those slip-ups into learning opportunities.
Exactly.
Yeah. I love that.
And speaking of learning,
Yeah.
I really loved how one of the sources broke down this idea of mini goals.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about that.
Because I think that's something that a lot of people struggle with.
Yeah.
They set these big, huge goals for themselves.
Right.
And then they get overwhelmed and they give up.
Totally.
But this source was saying, like, break it down into smaller steps.
Okay.
So it's not so daunting.
Right.
They even gave this example.
Oh, I love examples.
Yeah, they said, like, instead of trying to overhaul your entire diet at once,
Okay.
just focus on one small change per week.
Okay.
So, like, maybe the first week you just focus on swapping out soda for water.
Okay.
And then once that becomes a habit,
Yeah.
then you move on to the next thing.
Got it.
So it's like,
Yeah, so you're not like totally depriving yourself.
Right.
You're just making these small, gradual changes that
exactly.
you can actually stick to.
It's like, building a staircase,
Okay.
one step at a time.
I like that analogy.
Yeah. And then when you reach each step, you celebrate.
Yes. Celebrate those wins.
Exactly.
So important.
And speaking of celebrating,
Yeah.
I love how this source talked about finding healthy ways to reward yourself.
Yes. Because a lot of times people, they'll reach a goal and then they'll celebrate in a way that kind of sabotages their progress.
Right. Like, I'm going to eat a whole pizza.
Exactly. Or I'm going to, go out and drink a lot.
Right.
Which, can totally undo all the hard work they've done.
Right.
So it's important to find ways to celebrate that are still aligned
Right.
with your goals.
Yeah. So, like, maybe it's buying yourself a new workout outfit
Yeah.
or getting a massage
I like that one.
or, something that's going to make you feel good,
Right.
but it's not going to set you back.
Exactly. And one of the things the sources talked about was, those positive feelings that you get when you celebrate,
Yeah.
they actually reinforce those healthy behaviors.
Oh, that's
So
interesting.
it's like a positive feedback loop.
Okay. So we've talked about motivation goals, support systems,
Yeah.
how to handle slip-ups.
Mm-hmm.
But there's one more challenge that I think we should talk about that comes up a lot on this weight loss journey.
What's that?
and that is plateaus.
Oh, yes.
Those times when you're doing everything right,
Yes.
but the scale just won't budge.
It's the worst.
Oh, it's so frustrating.
It is.
And one of the sources compared it to like a car getting stuck in the mud.
Okay.
You know, you're trying to move forward, but you're just spinning your wheels.
Yeah, you're not getting any traction.
Exactly.
And that can be really discouraging.
Right.
Because you're like, wait a minute, I'm doing all the things.
Yeah, I'm following the plan.
Why isn't this working?
What's going on?
Right.
But this source had some really great advice for how to deal with plateaus.
Okay, I'd love to hear it because I know this is something a lot of our listeners struggle with.
Yeah.
So tell us.
So they said basically it's about mixing things up,
Okay.
you know, adjusting your approach.
So maybe like changing up your workouts
Yes,
or
right.
trying some new recipes
Yeah.
or even like shifting your focus to things beyond the scale.
Right, because sometimes it's not just about the number.
Right, exactly. Like, how do you feel?
Yeah.
Do you have more energy?
Yeah, are your clothes fitting better?
Are you sleeping better?
Yeah. Are you stronger?
All of that.
Yeah.
Because those are all wins too.
Right. It's about celebrating those non-scale victories.
Exactly.
And recognizing that weight loss is not always linear.
No, it's not. It's going to go up.
It's going to go down.
It's going to plateau.
Yeah, it's going to be all over the place.
So just ride the wave.
Exactly.
And one of the, I think, the most important takeaways from all the sources you sent
Yeah.
is that this is a journey,
Mhm.
not a destination.
Right. It's not about reaching a certain number on the scale
Right.
and then like being done.
Exactly. It's about making sustainable changes
Right.
that you can incorporate into your life
For the long haul.
for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And that's where the real magic happens.
Yeah.
It's not just about losing weight.
Yeah.
It's about, gaining health,
Hmm.
gaining confidence. Yeah.
Feeling better about yourself.
Right.
Having more energy.
It's like a whole lifestyle change.
Exactly. And I think it's important to remember that.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. And we talked about plateaus, and how to deal with those.
Yes. So important.
And one of the things that really resonated with me from one of the sources was this idea of like finding activities you actually enjoy.
Oh, tell me more about that.
Yeah, instead of forcing yourself to do something you hate.
Right.
Like if you hate running,
Yeah.
don't run.
Find something else.
Find something else. Like find something you actually enjoy.
Yeah. Like dancing or swimming or
Hiking or,
about
whatever it is.
whatever gets you moving.
Yeah, as long as you're moving your body and it doesn't feel like a chore.
Right. Exactly. It should be something you look forward to.
Yeah, and that, I think, brings us to the most important question.
What's that?
What is your next step?
Ooh, good question.
We've talked about all this stuff.
Yeah, we've covered a lot of ground. Intrinsic motivation, setting smart goals,
Yeah.
building a support system,
Navigating those obstacles.
dealing with slip-ups, celebrating those non-scale victories.
Yes, all really important things.
But now it's time to actually put it into practice.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I think is so important, and this came up in a couple of the sources you sent, is this idea of mindset.
Oh, yeah.
Really cultivating that growth mindset.
What does that mean?
So it's basically this belief that you can change,
Okay.
that you can grow,
Mm-hmm.
that you're not stuck where you are.
So it's like instead of saying, I can't do this,
Right.
you say, I'm going to figure out how to do this.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's about shifting from that place of self-criticism to a place of self-compassion and possibility.
Yeah, and believing in yourself.
Yes.
And knowing that you are capable of achieving your goals
Mm-hmm.
and that setbacks are just part of the process.
It's not a straight line.
Yeah, it's going to be messy.
It's going to be messy.
It's going to be ups and downs.
But you got this.
But you got this, and I think that's a really great note to end on.
I think so too.
So we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
But the real journey begins now.
Yes, it does.
So what insights resonated with you the most?
What are you going to try differently?
And remember, no matter what path you choose, we're here cheering you on every step of the way.
We believe in you.
We believe in you. And until next time, keep diving deep, keep learning, and keep believing in your ability to create the healthy, happy life you deserve.
That's right.
We're rooting for you. And don't forget to check out https.rel.rel if you're looking for a little extra support on your weight loss journey.
Yes, great resource.
See you on our next deep dive.